If I could offer anyone advice about divorce, it would be this: don't do it unless absolutely necessary. Of course, if there's abuse, whether towards you or your children, you should leave immediately. In my case, there was no abuse. We were together for 8 years, and most of it was good. We had 4 children together. Things started to change when I got a promotion at work around the 5-year mark. Suddenly, I felt like my husband was holding me back. I was earning more than him and working longer hours, while his hours were reduced, so he was home more often. I began to resent him because he got to spend time with our kids, and most nights when I got home, they were already in bed. I became frustrated with things around the house, like the dishes not being done or the kids not being fed the way I wanted. My husband would say he was trying, but being home all the time was difficult for him. I didn't care, I just became angrier. Over the next couple of years, things only got worse. My work hours were long, and his fluctuated between full-time and part-time, which created stress about money and schedules. I complained no matter what he did, even when he brought up the contradiction between working more and still needing to be available at home. I dismissed his concerns, telling him he needed to figure it out. Eventually, I started talking to another man at work, thinking he was just a friend. But soon, we were texting, exchanging photos, and finding ways to spend time together. I knew it was wrong, but it made me feel alive in a way my husband hadn't for years. One night, I came home to find my husband had cleaned the house, made dinner, and picked out a movie for the family to watch. A few years earlier, this would have made me happy, but I couldn't even look at him. I pretended to be sick and spent the night in bed while he took care of me. I felt terrible, then angry that he made me feel that way. After that, no matter what he did, it wasn't enough. I pushed him to his breaking point, and when he tried to make things better, I only made him feel worse. I knew I was wrong, but I didn't care, I was too focused on my own unhappiness. Eventually, he found out about my affair, and though it broke him, I still asked for a divorce. Despite his pleas to try and work things out, I went through with the divorce. I even boasted online about how great it felt. But the freedom I expected didn't last long. I struggled to keep up with household chores, and my children were miserable. My oldest had already seen some of the messages from the other man and stopped talking to me, preferring to stay with her dad. The others soon followed. Work became difficult without my husband around to help with the kids. I started calling him to watch them, and he always came over, even cleaning and cooking before leaving without saying much. He looked so sad every time he left. I tried dating again, but the guilt was overwhelming. I eventually sought therapy, hoping to validate my decisions, but instead, I began to see how wrong I had been. My husband wasn't perfect, but my actions were much worse. I destroyed a man who loved me, took my children's father away from them, and for what? I ended up miserable and alone. A few weeks ago, I asked my ex-husband if we could try again. His response crushed me. He said he wasn't sure if he could ever trust me again after everything I put him through. I don't blame him, I was wrong, and now I'm paying the price. So, my advice to anyone considering divorce: don't just listen to what people online or around you are saying. Look at yourself first. Try to make changes within yourself before ending your marriage. Divorce is not easy, and the aftermath can be far more painful than you ever imagined.